welcome. I am Mix and Light, and this is my channel. Today, I have as my guest Rob. Hello, Rob.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm okay.
You okay?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm fine. Oh, God.
Rob likes it when I joke.
I don't even know why I'm laughing anymore.
Okay, so our topic today is that Rob and I are going to go over the podcasts that we have done for the last 10 months. And we're going to talk about them and what we liked about them, didn't like about them, learned from them. Which ones were our favorites? Isn't that right, Rob?
Certainly, that is absolutely right. Yeah.
Okay, so we have both made a list of the podcasts, and if you are not already if you are not already subscribed, please do so. And if you could take one moment to give us a thumbs up, I don't know why you would, but please do. And go ahead and click that bell if you want to be notified of my upcoming content, which will likely be better than the start of this. Okay, so let's start with my very first podcast was with Jory, and it was about the Demon House documentary. That's one of my favorites because it was the first one. I was very excited. And Rob, did you see that there's a new documentary called The Lost Tapes of the Demon House documentary?
Is it with Zach? Is it one with
Yes.
Zach?
Yeah, it's his. It's his. He produced the
Uh,
second one.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen it advertised as well.
Yeah, I think it came out like Christmas Eve or something, which was a bizarre time, but maybe New Year's. I don't know.
That should
Christmas
be
was
good.
weird last year, so
Yeah. We had a weird Christmas, didn't we? So, yeah,
yeah.
just well, that's another podcast.
Yeah. So, can you remember back that far, Rob?
Yeah, I can. Well, it's funny actually because the first video that I saw of yours was the Demon House, not
Oh, really?
podcast. Yeah, it
The
was a
the the actual story about the demon house?
yeah, and I messaged you or left a comment about um, it being on uh, Ghost Adventures, and excuse me, we started chatting, and now we're here.
And now your life is ever so full.
Yeah, am I
You're
allowed that?
like, that girl right there, she's full of sunshine.
That's the one. That's the one. Any problem that I've got, I can always guarantee that you'll take the piss.
There's always a silver lining.
Yeah.
Well, I like that one because it was okay. So it was our first one. We were all very serious about it. We we all had the assignment that we had to watch the documentary. At that time, you had to pay for it, I believe, right on Amazon. And so I rented it, and you have it for 48 hours, and then like everybody watched it in the 48 hours, which is probably not something I should tell Amazon, but and I ended up seeing it 3 times, and Joy and I took notes throughout the whole thing so we could talk about it. And I just liked it because it was very fun. It was exciting that we were starting the podcast, and it was exciting that we were starting it on that topic. So it's a good memory.
It was one of the. It was a brilliant. Considering it was the first one, it was. It was really, really good, and I think that you got the bug then, didn't you? You just wanted to do more and more.
Yeah, yeah. We had a really good time. It was a lot of fun. I knew then that it would, as because at that point they were only going to have podcasts twice a month.
Yeah.
And by the time we got done with that one, we were planning what we were going to do next week. So that was fun. And then somehow we skipped you. Or no, we did Shadow Figures. We did Shadow Figures. And then we did the Hat Man.
No, we did the Hat Man first.
Which would have been Jory.
Oh, because Jory did the first one, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because if you remember the Hat Man, I suggested it to you because I'd watched that film, that Australian film, about it was called something else, but it reminded you of the Hat Man.
Yeah, because Jory has always had a Hat Man sitting in his room.
What's that bloody film? Can't remember what the film was called, but it was basically the Hat Man.
Right.
You watched the film, and then we did the Hat. Yeah, but I did Shadow Figures as well.
You did Shadow Figures. Jory did the Hat Man because he had a Hat Man that always sat in his room in our house in Arizona.
Yeah.
So I think you and I did Shadow Figures because I remember having the conversation that it would be okay to have two different kinds of Shadow Figures, in two different podcasts.
Yeah, sorry, I was just taking my tablets.
And I like those too. I remember that was your first podcast, and you were super nervous.
Very, yeah.
Yeah. And we were nervous that you would be nervous, and that I'd be nervous. And it went well, I thought. Not like now. We have a different rapport now than we did then.
You did well. I was just okay.
You did good. Back then, if I teased you, you were not comfortable with teasing me back like you do now and call me names.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And everybody used to think that you were picking on me.
They still do.
They still do, yeah.
I still am. I don't pick on you, though. It's... Okay. He sounds like I beat him. Okay. Okay. Do I pick on you?
Even your bloody husband was standing up for me. Sorry about that.
This is coming from the guy who invited me on a Valentine's date today and then took it back.
No, this is coming from the guy today who's got no brain, who didn't realise what he was doing. And it wasn't, I didn't invite her anywhere, JD. I can assure you.
I can assure you. I would never be seen in public with her. I guarantee it. Okay, so next. Oh, we did urban legends and folklore.
What about Black Eyed Kids?
Oh, where are Black Eyed Kids? Oh, they disappeared from my list.
They're still on mine.
Which is good. Okay, so we did Black Eyed Kids?
Yeah. I think Black Eyed Kids was the first one that started to get a little bit iffy and a bit real.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think Demon House, and then we started talking about Shadow Figures, and then we went to Black Eyed Kids, and something really bizarre was happening in the chat that I'm not really
Yeah,
going to talk about. But it was really bizarre and had everybody, us, freaking out about it. And I think Jory and I did Black Eyed Kids, and I sent you a message that night, and I was like,
yeah,
Black Eyed Kids went south. I didn't
yeah,
like it. No, that was one of my least favorite podcasts. Was that, which sounds weird because I mean it's Black Eyed Kids, but it was just building with the weird things happening, and yeah, that was a weird one. I didn't
yeah,
probably should have skipped that one. Uh, and then you and I did urban legends and folklore,
yeah. It's a
which
good one.
I can hardly remember.
Well,
What?
I suggested it, and
Yes.
yeah, I do remember doing it. The folklore one, the folklore part was can't think what we can't get all my words out. But yeah, I really enjoyed it because I think we do intend to sort of revisit that, don't we? At
Yeah.
some point, maybe
Yeah.
do a little bit more in depth into it.
Yeah. Um, I can't remember it.
I think we looked at the difference between the two.
Oh,
Obviously,
yeah.
what
We did the
what is
big black cats
yeah.
that you have. We did Loch Ness. No, that was a cryptid. No, it's both actually.
Well, it's funny you should mention that because can I just tell you a quick story? Last weekend when I took the girls home, obviously we go down the country lanes, like I tell you every time we do a podcast.
Yeah.
Something ran out in front of the car, and I've got these weird headlights on my new car. And when I go around a bend, they turn.
Oh.
My fog lights come on, and they turn the way the bend
Oh.
is. And then obviously when you straighten the car up, they turn themselves off. And obviously it works both ways, left or right. So we was going round a left-hand bend, which quite so I slowed the car right down. It's quite a sharp bend. So
Hmm.
the fog lights clicked on, and something ran out across the road about 50 meters in front of the car, and it the way it moved, it was like a cat, and but it was big. It was maybe the size of a big dog, maybe an Alsatian or a big Labrador or something. And
Really?
the girls missed it, didn't they? Girls,
No, no. Did they?
they didn't see it. They didn't. But we. But the whole point of what I'm saying is, there's supposed to be the beast of Bodmin Moor, and we were on Bodmin Moor.
Right. Whoa,
Very hot.
whoa.
I forgot to mention it to you. With all that's been going on. But yeah, I, I, I swear I saw something run in front of the car, just a silhouette, because it was dark and there's no street lights or anything because it's just out in the country. Because we're going over the moor. But yeah,
Oh, that's weird.
and it's funny because do you remember me telling you the story of I was again picking the girls up from school and it had gone dark, and we saw the shadow figures. Grace actually saw them.
Yeah.
It was the same place,
Really?
pretty much exactly at the same place. So, and honestly,
Oh.
I'm not making it up. It's really, really weird. And I look out for these shadow things now just to make. I've never seen them, but I look out for them now just to see if it was my headlights sort of playing tricks on me, and it isn't. So that night, something was happening. It was
Weird.
like you imagine the loads and loads and loads of shadow figures stood in the road, and then they all moved aside as my car went through them. That's what it looked like all up the side.
Oh. What's this more called?
Bodmin.
Okay, where's the moor where that couple, that serial killers, buried the bodies?
Oh, that's down there, just outside Manchester. That's the Yorkshire Moors.
And what's the moor that's in the Hound of the Baskervilles that you said you drive by?
That's the same one, Bodmin.
Is it? Oh, that's okay. I knew it was one of those.
Yeah, it's
That sounds
there's a
like a
lot of
scary place.
yeah. There's been because we're near the coast on both sides. Obviously, there's lots of legends about pirates and buried treasure, but there's also a lot of history about witches and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
It is because we're right out in the middle of nowhere. There's no street lights, so everywhere's it's pitched dark. You turn your car lights off, you can't see anything.
Oh.
It's just fun.
What is a moor?
Moor is basically an area, a large, big area where there isn't anything. It's high up on maybe on top of a mountain type, on top of a mountain with just maybe just a few sheep, no buildings, nothing, and you just have a road like a motorway, a highway that goes over it, and that's it basically.
Oh,
There's
I
nothing.
always in the Hound of the Baskervilles they describe it as being like patches of very wet, like water that you
Yeah,
could fall into. Is
yeah, you
that
get bogs, what they call
bogs?
bogs,
Bogs.
deep
Okay.
bogs, yeah. Which is really like really like muddy, really bad. You sink down into it, and
Oh,
you can actually use the peat um, like coal. It burns.
really?
Yeah, it's usually a little bit
Oh,
warmer. They dig it out of the they used to dig it out and use it as like coal, but they don't do that so much now because most of the moors are protected by the National Trust, which is
oh.
like I don't know if you have anything similar in America, which make it's just you can't basically wreck it and build on it, or
Well, yeah,
it's
that's our
just
national park system.
national parks. Yeah, so it's the
Yeah,
same.
where you don't want to go.
What I'll do the next time I go and pick the girls up in the day, I will fix my phone on my phone thing, the phone holder, and I will film. I will film what it looks like in the day,
Yeah,
and I'll send it to you.
yeah, I'd like to see it. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Sorry
wouldn't
about
drive
doing.
there if I were you.
Well, I have to.
Well,
I want to pick
okay.
yours again.
I'm not going with you. Okay, so then our next one, unfortunately,
Yeah.
was Jory and I talking about all the demons throughout history in which we named them. And that was the beginning and the end for me, for everybody. Never do a 3-hour podcast that you spend the entire time naming demons. It's going to go south. And that was a turning point for this channel for a while.
I mean, obviously, a lot of the people that listen to the podcast, oh, excuse me, a lot of the people that listen to the podcast have heard the story.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell the story, or do you want me to tell the story about what happened to us, not about the podcast and about the demons?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Well, you had the podcast which I listened to. You did the podcast which I listened to, which was a good podcast.
Mm-hmm.
The next was it the next morning, or for me it was the next morning.
Right.
My phone went, and it was you ringing me, but
Mm-hmm.
you hadn't rang me, had you?
No. And my phone rang, and it was you ringing me.
Yeah. Was that before or after I'd listened to the podcast and I'd heard something in the podcast? And I just said to you, listen at this point. Didn't tell you what to listen for. Listen at this point and see if you can hear anything.
It was afterwards.
That was after that had happened.
Yeah.
And there was obviously the thing with the phones. We couldn't work that out at all.
Mm-hmm.
My phone, I wasn't even holding my phone. I was doing my medication,
Right.
so I didn't even have my phone. Um, and you didn't even have your phone, did you?
No.
Rightly, and it just we rang each other somehow, both of us at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I think that right before that, I left out a podcast because it was Jory and I talking about our real life experiences with um, um, paranormal stuff. And my dad was here, and Jeremy and
Aye.
Maya and JD was here. I had a house full of people, and they heard a whispering noise during the podcast. My dad and JD heard it, and they went in to ask Jeremy if he put a sound effect into the podcast because Jory was talking about hearing a whispering noise. And right when he jumped up and ran in there, my nose
Started
started
bleeding.
bleeding awfully, and just kept bleeding and bleeding. And then the next week we did the demons, and then the phone stuff started happening, and then it just got real. For those who don't know, I don't talk about it. I try not to talk about it. Um, it's just I just don't want to bring it into me into my area. But there was some very real phenomena happening that I wasn't the only one experiencing. I wasn't the only one hearing it. I wasn't the only one it was happening to. Robb had stuff happening at his house. My son, right when I was getting a bloody nose, had a very bad car accident. Happened right outside of his front door, um, and something very very scary happened to me on the night of the demon podcast where I woke up and it was too early to call my husband, but I knew Robb would be up because our time
Time.
difference.
Yeah.
And I called him and I was just bawling. And the next day I had to go to a doctor's appointment that morning, and it just continued on to where producer Jeremy heard a noise happening. I was very ill, and the phone was across the room from me, and had called and asked them for help to come. They had dropped me off. I asked them to help me and come back, and it was just very, very scary and out of control. Which, I've experienced paranormal stuff my whole life, and I've talked about it just as like storytelling. This happened to me, and that happened to me, and that whole incident is something that changed me from ever doing that
Yeah,
in that frame of mind again.
you people obviously that listen to the podcast have got an open mind about paranormal stuff, but if there are any people that are skeptics that listen to this or have listened to us in the past, you shouldn't mess about with the paranormal. You've got to be really,
Right.
really careful.
Right. And the thing is that all of us involved with the podcast, all of us had experienced this. I experienced it to a very extreme degree, but we all experienced it. And even Jeremy, who isn't like necessarily cynical, but isn't um, doesn't chase after paranormal stuff like we look for paranormal stuff. We like to watch paranormal shows like that. That's not something that he does. Um, Heard something that was so unsettling that they didn't even tell me for several months that he had heard it, because of how traumatic that whole experience was. Jory having that experience. My dad who really doesn't even believe in, he's not like paranormal at all, would never choose to talk about or watch anything paranormal, experienced hearing the whispering. And anyway, it was just everybody for the last couple podcasts experienced
Yeah.
stuff. And so we as a group decided that we were not going to do that for a while.
Yeah.
And and this part's funny to me because my husband was like, I don't want you to doing these at all. I don't want you to do these at all, because of course I did speak to him that morning, and was still crying and hysterical, and he said, just need to stop. And everybody was fine with like saying, okay, let's just stop. But I didn't want to stop the podcast. So I said, just give me a few days. A couple days later, I said, okay, I want to do podcasts. Let's do serial killers. That seems like a safe topic. And we all thought it was funny that that's how low the bar was. We were just like, I know, let's do serial killers. Perfect. But for really for then, I mean, we've never talked about that kind of demon stuff since.
No, we haven't. We haven't done anything.
Which, you know, I have gotten to a point where I'm not afraid of it. I have a different mentality of dealing with it and how to discuss it, not to go in as I don't know, like unprotected, like open, not to do that again.
It was
And
almost like, I mean, you might not agree. It was almost as bad as it was. It was almost like someone was pointing a finger at us and saying, "Don't fuck about."
yeah,
Serious.
no, I agree. I knew after that night that if we did another podcast like that, that I was terrified of what the consequences would be. And I felt very strongly that we should not do that.
Well, it's like that. It's like that saying. I can't remember it exactly, but the greatest trick the devil ever did is make people think that he didn't exist,
Right.
or something like that. It's basically that, but maybe worded differently. And it was like we were trying to basically prove it and
Yeah.
say it is real, and something, or someone, or whatever didn't like it.
Oh boy, something didn't like it.
You know what makes me?
That's for sure.
It makes me think that we were just the two of us doing we were just doing a podcast, and these people that go into it, and I'm not going to go into crazy here, but the people that really, really study it and go into it and believe it, they must have some serious repercussions. Does that make sense?
Oh no, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. From what I experienced, which was scary, doesn't even cover the experience. It was terrifying.
Yeah.
To me. If I had just packed up my stuff and said, okay, well, we're going to go investigate another haunted house tomorrow, I just can't even imagine the kind of stuff that would haunt you at night.
Yeah, that's what I meant, actually. You worded it better than me, but yeah. Anyway, should we move on?
So we moved on, to something happier, which was serial killers. And remember that one of the serial killers I was going to talk about, he claimed that he had been possessed by demons. And I said, I'm going to touch on that a little bit. I didn't even talk about him in that podcast. I was like, on second thought, nope, not going to do it. I am not going to tempt fate. So Joy and I did that, and no, you and I did that? Was that you and I?
I think we did, for some reason, I think we did I did two in a row.
Yeah.
So I remember that, and I remember doing the next one, which was one of the ones that one of our favourites, which is
yes,
Vanished from national parks.
Yes.
Which is one that we are planning on doing another one.
Yeah, we are. It's really interesting. I didn't know about the we for the serial killers. The topic actually was, we wanted to have it be nature versus nurture. Are you born a bad seed, or are bad seeds created?
Yeah.
And I actually found that to be very interesting, because some of the people we talked about had horrific childhoods. Some of them did not.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very interesting. And we managed to stay away from could they have been possessed, which was good. But the Vanished from the Parks, I had never heard about this phenomenon of 411.
411, yeah.
The missing people. And I don't even know how I came upon it. I really don't even know, because I used to do unidentified murder victims.
Yeah.
And I would talk about their cases. And I think that got me and somehow led me down a rabbit trail down to the 411 cases, and then people who go into national parks and never come back, or never seen again. And I don't want to say those are fun podcasts, because that's a weird. It's really interesting to me. There's so many different levels of what it could be, what is happening, and possibilities, that it's really fascinating to me. And I won't go into a national park anytime soon.
It's just the more you look at it, this is one of the things we talked about on the podcast. I mean, obviously everybody hears when someone disappears, whether it's a child or an adult in the national parks. But when you really look at it, these people are basically just vanishing.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, is not everyone hears about it. That's the amazing thing. If like I've said 100 times, if this many people walked into a grocery store and didn't come back, we would hear about that. But the thousands of people missing from the national parks, even children, that you have to look up on the internet to even know about, is astounding. We just had a case here that was the 13-year-old girl. Her parents were found dead. She was kidnapped. They found her yesterday, and that was a huge story. That's a huge story, okay, and understandably so. But if she had gone missing in a national park, it probably wouldn't have been a huge story. She would have been missing, and then the stories really just fade away. There's a search party for 5 days, and it's interrupted by horrible weather, and the dogs catch a scent, and then they lose it. And these same things over and over and over again. Or they find the body in this exact same place where 1,000 people, 6 dog teams, a helicopter searched before, and suddenly here's the body. A lot of times they're missing their shoes.
Yeah. Or they've got the clothes on the wrong way around or something.
Yeah. there's just so many similarities into how the stories go, especially like the weird weather things that happened.
Yeah.
That, there's always like, oh, people are going camping for the weekend, so it doesn't feel like that means that there's a huge storm on the horizon, right?
Yeah.
They're in their tents. They look at the weather. They heard the weatherman. It's a sunny, nice weekend. They're going camping, but this huge storm from nowhere comes, and it floods the place. Literally floods the place, so that all the evidence of this child he ever existed in this park is gone. And it's just so weird.
You know what? The thing that I found really weird as well was, especially with the young children, when they're found like 5 or 10 miles away,
Yeah.
and they've got no shoes on, and they've just basically, and there's no way that they could have walked that distance through that area, because it was, you couldn't get through it. It was unaccessible.
Yeah.
And then they're found,
Yeah.
like 2 days later. How is that possible?
Yeah, or they're seen by other people at the exact same time they disappeared. 6 miles away.
Yeah.
There's so many different things. Like, I think the theories run from, well, obviously there's people who go in and commit suicide. There's people who go in and maybe just never want to be found and keep going and live somewhere, But then I think you have the sinister things which run from serial killers to the government being involved, because there's weird things that go on with the government that members of the government have admitted to Bigfoots, to UFOs.
Yeah.
It's just, and all of those have credible information that goes with it, like witness testimony when they come back of what happened to them. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
And so weird.
I mean,
I don't know.
When you talk, have we actually done a podcast about UFOs? I don't think we actually have we?
I don't think so.
Because obviously it wasn't from a national park, but do you remember the guy, the English guy, he was Polish, but he lived in England, who disappeared and was found on top of a pile of coal?
Oh yeah, uh-huh.
And he had all his, he had this green gooey stuff all over him, which they just couldn't identify what it was. It was just unknown.
Right.
He had all his clothes on back to front. He had no socks on, but his shoes on.
Yeah.
I think his shoes were on the wrong feet or something.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a policeman, or was it 2 policemen? We'll say it's 2 policemen. Say they saw a UFO in the road. Now, they ruined their careers doing that, basically.
Right.
They were just ridiculed completely.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do that? Why would you? It's like pilots, isn't it? They mostly keep quiet because. But when these people come out and say, unless they're complete lunatics, but obviously, a pilot or a policeman, you're going to think that there is some sanity there somewhere.
Well, yeah.
Why would you come out and say, "Well, I saw a UFO," and then this body turns up, or the body turns up, and then you said, "Well, I saw this UFO."
Right.
You wouldn't do that, would you? Well, I don't know. Would you? I mean, we both had experiences.
I wouldn't. First thing I said to my brother when my brother said, "We need to report this," was, "No, we don't." Yeah, no. So, I mean, I wouldn't. And even think about the astronauts who have talked about Area 51 on their deathbed. They wait until their deathbed.
Yeah. just crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're not getting any answers from our governments. We just get ridiculed.
Yeah. That's why we got to keep doing stories about it, because so many people actually have never heard about these missing people and their stories, that the children, small children who 3 years old, who talk about these alien things that they would have no concept of lying about.
Yeah.
So that's why I like to do them, because so many people have not heard about them, and that had been me a year ago. That we need to, and the government won't sell the list of the missing people in Yosemite Park unless you buy it for $1 million. $1 million. We pay for those parks. Isn't that public knowledge who's missing in there? And wouldn't you want to spread the knowledge of who's missing? But well, no, because it loses money. But yeah, so that's why we have to.
Yeah, we're fighting the good fight for everybody.
I hope so. All right, so then we moved on to cryptids.
Yeah.
Which I have to say, Rob,
Wow.
that podcast was one of my favorite podcasts, because I asked you to do that bird one with the, breasticles. And you were just like, so this next one, I laughed so hard.
Yeah, I mean, I I've done a couple, haven't I, with the videos or the content about cryptids on my own.
Yes.
That point is very important, on my own.
Yes. He doesn't like to do them with me.
But I love anything like that. It's just crazy. I just love it.
Well, for your information, I found this whole other list of cryptids I'd never heard of before. I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
Okay, so then we moved into conspiracy theories, which, of all time, was my favorite podcast, and nobody has heard it. A few people have heard it. 7.
It's about 7 days long, isn't it?
It was so long. It was my favorite podcast. It was you, me, Jory, and I think Jeremy even came in sometimes. Didn't you, Jeremy? Jeremy? Yes, that's right. For Area 51. I still have the homework for the chemtrails. I spent an hour or more talking about the Denver airport, which was fascinating. And you talked about the reptilian people.
Yeah.
That was the favorite podcast we've ever done. So if you were one of the people who were there to listen to that, I hope you liked it, because, it got lost into the Ethernet somewhere in some other galaxy. They are laughing their ass off thinking that I'm going to be at the airport when they get there, when they get here to invade.
We'll have to do it again. We'll have to do it again.
We should do it again. I have so much information. And not only that, but I had lost all my information. I had spent like hours and hours and hours, 12 or 13 hours doing all this homework, and I erased it. And I had to go back and redo everything. And then just gone. It was just gone. The feeling in my stomach. It was so funny, though. I really, really enjoyed it. And nobody knows what I'm talking about when I say I'm going to be parked outside the Denver International Airport, but someday I will be. That's where you're going to find me, and then you'll figure out why I'm there. If I'm there, you too should park outside there. That's all I'm going to say.
If you're
Okay,
parked
Rob.
up there, if you're there, we're in the shit. If you're ever parked up there, we're in the shit.
That's right. That's right. That's right. You'll want to join me, believe me. Okay, so then is the next one we did the real hauntings turned into movies?
Yeah,
That was your idea,
yeah,
and that was a really good one. I really liked that one.
yeah. The
I,
Exorcist.
yeah, I still have a story to do about the Amityville Horror House. Um, did I say horror house clear enough?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Um, because in my homework, I discovered that recently, close to that house, they found a weapon they think could be tied in to the murder, the original murder. And so I have it in my iPad stored away. In my iPad, I keep things like if I run across something interesting, I'll just keep it there in a file to file through and say, oh, I'll take this out and do a story. And I still have from that podcast something to do about the gun. Don't go looking. You guys stop right now. Put the Google down. Let me do it for you. Um, that was one of my. I really liked that one. That was really good.
yeah,
That was very interesting.
yeah. It's amazing. I mean, it's the one where you did a kill count, didn't you?
Oh no, the kill count comes back. That comes in October.
Ah, right.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
do that. By the way, the cryptids one is where we decided that chupacabras are unfortunately not real.
Yeah, but if you listen to my video that I did the other week about cryptids, Chupacabra is still on the list.
But they're not real, Rob. Sadly, they're just mangy dogs or members of the canine genus.
Well, they said in this, what I did, that it was a hybrid between a dog and a kangaroo.
What the hell, Rob? What the hell? Are they boxing these sheep?
just, just saying, just being real.
Have you ever seen a kangaroo kick the ass of a grown man?
Yeah,
They're awesome.
yeah,
Kangaroos are awesome.
and they're massive as well when they stand up.
Yes. Did you, this is totally off topic, but have you ever seen the video of the guy trying to protect his dog from the kangaroo, and the guy posts up and just starts punching the kangaroo? And the kangaroo's like, because the kangaroos are like, they're not nice. And he just starts punching this kangaroo until the kangaroo's like, whatever, dude, take the dog. It's so funny. I don't know. I want them to be soft, cozy. I want them to hug me, but they're gonna punch the shit out of me.
Do you used to have a program called Skippy?
No.
Skippy the bush kangaroo? No. Skippy
No.
was nice.
Skippy was nice.
Yeah, he was lovely. He used to rescue. It's like Lassie, but kangaroo.
Oh, Rob, you know what I like? I like that how British people say things are lovely. Skippy was lovely.
Okay,
I like that. I'm
okay,
gonna have to
thank
go
you.
look at. Okay. Moving right along. Oh, so yes, famous murders that were or hauntings that were turned into murders. That remind the whole chupacabra thing reminded me that the haunting in Connecticut was the equivalent of the chupacabras to hauntings because it didn't happen. Okay, then Jory and I did um, Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Yeah.
That's one of my least favorite podcasts. I'll be honest with you.
Is it?
Yeah, I came away not liking those people at all.
Because I was sulking about that because I wanted to do it.
Well, I mean, you did.
I
Oh,
think they're amazing. I think they're. Why do you say that?
well, for one thing, they kept a child sex slave,
Eh?
allegedly. Yeah, they had that young teen girl living in their house for Ed to.
Oh no, you're joking, aren't you?
Did you not listen to that podcast?
No, it's one that I didn't listen to. I think I might. In fact, I think I might have been in hospital.
Oh, Rob. Yeah, they kept a young teenage girl in their house for the purposes of Ed. I believe they forced her to have an abortion. She's told her story and written, maybe not written a book, just told her story. She, let's see how this goes. She got in trouble for skipping school once because she was with Ed, and she ended up being like having to get in trouble for it and being in detention. And Ed drove her every day to her detention. And yeah, she stayed with them for like 25 years.
Are you sure you're not getting mixed up with somebody else?
No, it's Ed and Lorraine Warren. She moved in them with them as a young teenager and then stayed with them for like 25 years until she was in her 40s and she finally left and told the story of how Lorraine would smack her around and she was Ed's slave.
God, that's. God, I never. I'm speechless.
Yeah, go listen to the end of that podcast because I have it at the end because I said a shocking something about Ed and Lorraine Warren, or bombshell allegations against Ed and Lorraine Warren. And these are her allegations. I'm not saying it happened, for the record. I'm saying allegedly these things happened. I don't know if they happened. I'm just saying this woman says that they happened. And they have pictures of her with them. And yeah, they were fucking crazy. And so I wish I hadn't done that podcast because by the time I got done with that podcast, I just wished I hadn't.
Well, you've surprised me tonight or today.
I'm sorry. You gave me kangaroos. I gave you sex slaves. It's not a fair trade.
I'm all sex slaved out at the moment.
Why? Have you been watching R. Kelly?
I didn't want to mention the name, but yeah. That's not going to sound good on a podcast as well, what I've just said, is it?
Well, probably not. That's why I'm going to leave it in. Okay, so then we went on to Jory and I did Haunted New Orleans, which was not then. That was way farther up because it was around the demons. So I got that wrong. We also did the huh?
conspiracies.
Oh, we did the conspiracy with the moon landing and
Crop circles.
crop circles.
Yeah.
And something else. There was another one, which I can't think of. Can't think of it. I was kind of.
Did we touch on? Did we touch a little bit on 9/11? But we wanted to do that
Maybe
as a
Princess Diana.
Princess Diana, JFK.
Yeah.
Um,
It seems like there was another big one, like moon landing, but can't think of it.
yeah, that was. We like our conspiracy ones, don't we?
Yeah, we like conspiracy theories. Mm-hmm. And then let's see, where am I now? We did twisted stories behind fairy tales, the true stories behind the fairy tales.
Yeah, that was a
Which,
good one.
yeah, I like that. That was fun. And then we did witches, which turned out to be very educational. You never know how it's going to go. But it was. I liked it very much because we talked about kitchen witches and paganism being the origins and of the kitchen witches and healing with herbs and whatnot. I really liked it. I felt like I learned a lot.
Yeah, it was a good one. That
We did 5 weeks of the 9/11 conspiracy theories.
yeah,
So Jeremy had the first one. It started off being pre 9/11, the lead up. I had the second one. So he did the lead up, the history. I did the towers, and all the mathematical equations. Then you did the Pentagon.
yeah.
And that was really in deep into the conspiracy theory aspect because the plane, there was no plane, the engine wasn't the right engine and all that stuff. And then Jory did the flight 93
Yeah,
that crashed in Pennsylvania, which was more of the emotional people involved and the
yeah, that
effect it
was really good.
had. That was really, really good.
I think that was the
And
best one out of the five.
yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
I thought it wrapped it all up because we all took us kind of like Jory didn't, but the rest of us took a step back from we to the whole thing we mentioned not only the people who passed away and their families, but first responders.
yeah.
But our main topics were the cut and dry aspects, math, the history, the where's the airplane, and then Jory wrapped it all up by then bringing together all the parts of how emotional it was because of the people
Yeah,
that are involved, and still to this day, people have cancer from the first responders, who were down there and whatnot. So that was really good. And then the fifth one was recapping what we had all talked about, and I thought I just really loved how I separated who was going to do what, who was going to do what topic. I took me a while to figure out how I wanted to break up the timeline, and once I figured out how to break up the timeline, seemed like, well, that was a no-brainer. And then we didn't have any instructions on how to go about your parts. everybody was just, free to go and do what they were going to do. And every one of us came at it from a completely different angle.
Yeah.
And I loved that without any instruction. We
Yeah.
could have all come at it at a completely emotional angle or a completely detached scientific angle, but we didn't. We all came at it at different angles, kind of went
Yeah.
along with personalities, and I really thought that it couldn't have gone better. I thought it was great.
Yeah. It was good for me as well, coming from looking in from the outside, because obviously I'm in the UK.
That was another great aspect of that you had a completely different perspective to look at it. So that was really great. And then Jeremy had been young enough that he thought we dialed 911 because of that day. Because we dialed 911, for help. And then Jory was a young adult, and so we had a whole bunch of different even experiences just from who we were at the time. And gosh, I really loved it.
Yeah, I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it and look at it from a fact-based, the Pentagon. But the more that I tried to do it, the less I could do it, because it was just so bizarre that trying to report on the facts they just contradicted each other, and it was just trying to get away from the conspiracy and look at it as a rational person trying to explain what happened.
Yes.
You just couldn't do it. It was just so just crazy.
Because that's what we want. That was the intent. We talked about it. We had the meetings about it. We wanted to come at it as this is this conspiracy theory, but we're presenting it to you. We're not giving you our opinion. We're just presenting these conspiracy theories to you. But the more we kept getting into it, then the more we couldn't help but see the inconsistencies. And in my part of it, the inconsistency was mathematical. It was pure science and math that was not adding up. Literally not adding up. And in your end of it, you were running into the same thing.
Yeah.
So I liked that part of it too, that I wanted to present it in a very straightforward, these are the facts way. But when the facts are contradicting each other, you have to report. I'm not a reporter. You have to say that too, because those are facts, and let everybody come to their own conclusion. But while we're letting everybody come to our own conclusion, we're also looking at it because, we're humans.
Yeah.
And thinking, this is weird.
Something that's weird? I found it exhausting.
Yeah, I did too.
And with no disrespect to what happened, when we did that final one, I don't know if it was the emotion of everything, and and looking at it from trying to look at it from what you've just said. I was exhausted. I was absolutely exhausted.
Yeah.
It took everything from you.
Yeah.
Or from me.
I agree.
So I can't imagine what it must have been like for those, or for everyone, especially the first responders.
Oh man.
I didn't know that people were getting cancer now.
Oh yeah.
Because I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, people that getting phone calls from the family.
Yes.
The towers. That would haunt you for ever.
Oh yeah.
While you're watching it on the news and worrying and being scared for your for the member of your family that was stuck in the towers and people leaping from the towers.
Yeah, and seeing that, watching videos that showed that was I saw a video that I wish I had never seen, um, from the bottom of one of the towers. They were showing people coming out of the front doors, and um, people were jumping. I hadn't realized how many people had jumped, which was like a couple hundred, I think.
Yeah.
And there was I don't know, I can't think of what to call it. Like something that goes over a patio. It's to keep the rain from getting on you.
Yeah, like a veranda type awning.
Yeah, like a thing like that. And there was that on the door coming out from the doors, but it had been part of it had been broken and from what was happening, and another part hadn't, and you could hear. Um, I don't want to get too graphic about it, but the thumping, and I had never seen that before. I wish I had never seen it, but then again, it was the horror of what those people were experiencing. You know, those people coming out that I was watching coming out of the building, they were experiencing that. They were having to step over the people who worked in that building with them and hear what was happening. They probably weren't even registering what the noise was that was thumping. And so I guess, I can say, well, I wish I hadn't watched that video, but I didn't live it, that part. So, I mean, I can't even imagine. And the first responders, I mean, that's just those people running, like they always say, like firemen run into a burning building when everybody else is running out, and they sure did.
Yeah.
That's just so brave.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. It was really good. That series, I thought was really good.
Yeah, it was really, really good. It's just, I think it took a toll on us.
Yeah, I think so too. It was very emotional.
And I didn't think I would feel like that being from the UK. I
Yeah.
didn't think it would get me that way, but it's just surprising, isn't it, how things affect you in different ways.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it was incredible. Okay. Then we moved on to sleep paralysis or demon encounter. Which is pretty interesting too.
Well, we had what's his? I can't think of what his name is. Sorry, mate. Jeremy. He helped us out on this one, didn't he?
Was it this one?
Yeah, because I'm sure it was. I'm sure Jeremy did, because he said about lucid dreaming and things like that.
Oh, I think that's the one that was near death and psychedelics.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, Jeremy.
I like that one. That was interesting.
Yeah.
And then we did a story about the Casa Grande domes, because we did a story about the Casa Grande domes, and Brian was in the chat and said, "I'll be there in a week." He's like, "I'm packing. I'm looking up plane tickets right now." Diabolical witness, and went out there and met Jory. And as we all found out later, that was the day Jory found out that he was going to have a little bean. By the way, they had ultrasounds done today. Kendra is in her 5th month. Bean is looking like a baby.
She's 5 months already.
She's 5 months.
Oh, that's flown by.
I know, isn't that crazy?
I
And
know.
this child has huge feet, like the biggest feet. And we all sat around this morning looking at the pictures and just in awe over the beauty of this baby. So that was a interesting day for Jory. I didn't know at the time that that was happening, and but they got to call into another podcast because of that. Remember? Then
Yeah,
we did witches in horror films.
yeah. It's a good one.
Yeah, I really liked that too. And then we did the dark side of Disney, which had to do with the deaths in Disneyland and
Yep.
Disney World, which um, the whole alligator thing has made me realize I will never go to Disney World. Putting the numbers of alligators they take out of there every day was like, not gonna. That's not for me. That is not a ride I want to go on. Down to the bottom of a pond under a rock or a log. No. We did characters from horror films. That was good.
Yeah,
We're coming into October right now.
this is the one where you did a body count for everybody.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. How many Jason killed? Yeah. Saw
I
how many
did
they
that.
killed. Did you like that?
I thought it was good, but I wish you'd have told me because I didn't do it.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I mean, I thought that's going a bit extra on your research.
Hey, it was October. It was supposed to go. I was supposed to be like murder and mayhem. Whatever. And then Madison and I did lesser known serial killers, which I had such a good time doing the podcast with her.
Yeah, and I got worried, didn't I?
Yeah, yeah.
But she was
She
going to
was,
steal my job.
yeah, you did. She's born to do podcasts.
Very much.
She did a great job. I had a great time doing it with her. She was funny and did a lot of research, and she's smart. I mean, she's my daughter. What am I gonna say? The nut didn't fall far from the tree. I don't know. But it was fun because everybody enjoyed having, a new member of the family pop up, and she wasn't the horrible child that her siblings portray her to be. We did, I think,
Famous ghosts.
famous ghosts. What was this? Did Jory and I do this? Who did this?
I don't remember this one.
I don't either. Famous ghosts. Oh, I know. Like the lady in white.
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah, yeah. That's one. I remember that. Um, I'm trying to think. Oh, Lincoln is said to haunt his bedroom.
Yeah,
Oh boy, I'm having to get way back into the library right now. Um, but I did that with Jory.
yeah, you must have done.
Um, and then we did. Oh, then we did the behind the scenes of the Casa Grande ghost hunt, which which was fun. I liked knowing the behind the scenes stuff, but it was hard because we couldn't tell anybody that it was the day that Jory found out he was pregnant. You knew, but we
I
couldn't tell
knew.
anybody else. Then you and I we did a bring a topic, and we just sat around and talked with everybody in chat.
Didn't we do the history of Halloween first?
Why don't I have that listed? Wait, what? Oh no, the history of Halloween was done like on the 26th of October. Oh, it's the next one. Haunted Halloween. I don't know
Haunted
why I
Halloween.
wrote Haunted Halloween, but it was the history of Halloween. And that was the one where Jory and I started drinking first.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
Rob, you had to leave because you weren't feeling well.
yeah, yeah. I was feeling poorly, weren't
Yeah. Josh, Jory and I were feeling fine.
I?
We were doing pretty good. Oh, we pre-gamed it a little bit. Just a little bit. And I, as you know, I don't really drink. And I actually gave myself a hangover. Before I even went to bed, I had a hangover. So that was a pretty good trick. Um, let's see. Then you did the near death one slash psychedelic or the chemicals in your brain and how it could be the same the same thing. The explanation could be the chemicals in your brain um,
Is this the
causing a
one that
near
I
death
did?
experience.
Is this the
Yeah.
one I did with Jeremy? But you were there, sort
Yes.
of, because
Yes.
This is one of my favourite ones.
Yeah, this is good. I was just there to, well, I gave a sermon on some part of the Bible. I can't remember what it was. Do you
Yeah,
remember? I don't
yeah.
know what it was, but I gave this whole sermon and I was like, and amen. I don't know what happened, but it was really good. You guys did a
Yeah,
great job.
Jeremy knows a lot.
Hmm.
And the
Jeremy
lucid dream,
knows everything there is to know about that kind of stuff.
yeah, and
Yeah.
the lucid dreaming, I'm still um, interested in that. I've been looking at it, reading stuff about it. So
I can do it.
he can.
Yeah, almost every night, probably, I would say I have a lucid dream where I fix things or talk to people and say, oh, this is, like a lot of my lucid dreams involve my family members, not my, like my children, passed away family members, usually. And a lot of it is therapy. Remember, I told you my lucid dreaming is therapy,
Yeah.
where my mom is there a lot, and I can say, "Hey, this is my dream, and we're gonna deal with it this way." So I do it a lot.
Does it not scare you?
No, not at all. No, I'm just like, oh, I'm dreaming, and it's the opposite of scaring me actually, because if something scary happens, like I explained then, that if I have a dream where I'm running away from somebody, I've had for my whole life this reoccurring dream that my grandparents had a hidden room in their house, and in my dream it's behind their bed, or you have to crawl through this. There's three different ways. There's three different ways to get into this room. Doesn't really matter, but the fact is that there's a room, and so this usually when I have this dream, any psychologist would probably tell me that what you're trying to do is hide from your problems. And they're probably right. um, Whatever, I'll admit it. But I'm usually running from somebody and trying to get into the room, to my hidden room. And so sometimes the door can be very, very small, and I can be aware of it and say, I need the doorway to be bigger. Or in this particular dream that I was telling you guys about that day, the door wouldn't shut and it wouldn't lock. And I said, this is a dream. I can lock this door. and the door changed and the lock changed, and I locked the door. And it's not scary. It's the opposite of scary.
It's crazy.
I've been able to do that my whole life. I didn't know that it was something people couldn't do until I met Jeremy
Ah.
and was describing it to him. And he was like, do you know that monks study their whole lives to try and have lucid dreams? I was like, oh, well, call me a monk. I'm going to go be a monk.
It's weird, though, the meanings to dreams. Because I told you about that dream that I used to have. It's not a very nice dream, but about and I've actually spoke to sort of therapists about this and counsellors, and they've told me that it means something coming to an end, and it's not like a bad thing. It's I'm in this room in this house, and there's a cellar in the house, and someone comes to the door and comes in, and for some bizarre reason, I kill this person and hide the body in the cellar, and this keeps happening and happening and happening. I'm not the actual me killing somebody isn't the thing that worries me. The thing that worries me is about getting caught and trying to hide what I'm doing, and people think that it's me. That something's coming to an end, and I'm trying to suppress certain feelings. That's
right. Right.
But I actually, years ago now, when I was having it a lot, I have it a lot when I'm stressed. I had to sit down and think, have I ever lived anywhere with a cellar? I thought it was fucking real.
Yeah. Sometimes I have that when I have the lucid dreams. I had a lucid dream that I was sure for 2 weeks it had happened to me in my past, but it hadn't.
I was going to ask you then, when you have, I mean, I'll ask Jeremy as well. When you have a lucid dream, can you go back in time, or is it just got to be in the present?
No. It's any dream. You can go back in time. For me, Maya, is Jeremy back yet? Maya, calling Maya. Oh, well, when he comes back, we'll ask him. For me, it's any dream.
Wow. But see, when I hear people talk about lucid dreaming, it's like they're going on a journey now. They can go like say for instance, you could have a lucid dream where you came to my house.
Yes.
Or Jeremy had a lucid dream that he came to my house.
Yes.
Like now. But that would be now.
Yeah, I could do that.
But having a lucid dream about something that's happened in your past.
Yes.
I don't see. Well, I just don't get that bit.
Oh yeah, I could do that. I can do that, and if it's something that was traumatic, I can say this is a dream. This is a dream, and walk away.
Do you think that, say, Jeremy had a lucid dream and he came here? That could be me seeing a shadow figure.
Oh, I don't know. That's a very good question.
You know, is that
very good, Maya? Maya said, "Isn't that astral projecting?"
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I can't do that.
We need to do another podcast on this.
Yes, let's do.
With Jeremy.
Maybe you can write that down in our notes.
I'll do it now.
Okay. I'll talk about lucid dreaming. Okay.
I never knew you.
Yeah, my whole life. I've always been able to. And I have reoccurring dreams about, I think I've told you, about tsunamis that I'm not sure is a reoccurring, well, it's a reoccurring dream. But in the dream, I am of some Asian descent. I'm a child, 2 to 3 years old. I have a shirt on, a diaper, no pants. I'm with my mother standing on the edge of a beach. She's Asian as well. I just know she's my mother. There's palm trees behind the beach, and there's a tsunami coming. And I can feel the water hit me. It's always been the same dream. So it feels more like a past life kind of a thing
That's right.
than a recurring dream. But now when it happens, I can say, this is a dream, and walk away. Or this is a dream, and make the water stop. Just stop.
It's funny you should talk about reoccurring dreams, because I think that I have a lot of reoccurring dreams, but sometimes I think to myself, well, have I actually had that dream before, or is that am I just thinking that that was part of the dream type of thing?
Oh, yeah, no, I have reoccurring dreams that I've had for years. I have like probably three that I've had for years. We should talk about that. And could that have actually be a past life experience coming through?
Yeah, just going to say that. Just going to say that. Are your dreams really, really real? Really real? Do you feel like you're there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I have some that are crazy, and they say you can tell when you're dreaming because you don't really like go to the next place. You're just there. You're not like in a 45-minute car ride going to the grocery store. You're just there at the grocery store, and they don't make sense that people just pop in. And those I have those dreams, and I don't even try and control those dreams. But the lucid dreaming ones I have, they're very controlled. They're very not. I mean, it's crazy that I'm running down a hall away from somebody. I'm not saying that, but it's not the kind of chaos where you wake up and go, "Oh my God, I had the weirdest dream. We were camping, and there was a shark, and he was in the tent next to us." Like not that kind of a dream. But I'm here, this is happening dream.
It's crazy. Yeah, we definitely have to do another podcast on this.
Okay.
All three of us.
Yeah.
Jeremy to do it as well, because there's a lot of stuff I want to ask him.
Okay. That'd be great. We'll ask Jeremy if he wants to. He's not back here yet. Okay. Jeremy's not feeling well. He has a migraine, so he's taking a hot shower. And then there was Civil War hauntings, which Joy and I did, and I really like it because we are both Civil War fanatics as far as historical events and places go. We really like to visit them and feel them and all that good stuff. Like I've told the story 100 times about being on that boat.
Yeah.
I like that kind of thing. Or going to the Alamo. That was awesome. So that's what we did. We did the Civil War hauntings. Then we did another Missing Without a Trace.
Yeah.
Of course, I love those. And then we did the one where we were talking about something, but I can't remember what the topic was. It was something very. I want to say that we just We were talking. I don't know. We were just talking, and then Jory called in to tell us about him uh, and Kendra having a baby.
Well, that was when we were talking about the Castle Grande domes, wasn't it?
No, he called. We were just having a light. We did a light
Yeah, we did
podcast about.
Tracy and Rob chatting.
Yeah, it was something like that. Yes, come and chat. Yeah, we'll talk your ear off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
I
bit
like
like,
that.
yeah.
Like every night, and and then we did Krampus. Rob, did you ever listen to me and Jory doing Krampus?
I never got a chance to listen to it.
Oh my gosh, Rob. That is in my top 3 podcasts, probably 4 podcasts. We we laughed so hard. I laughed so hard I snorted twice. You need to listen to it because there is a part about Krampus. You know, Krampus goes and he hits people with sticks. And I
Uh-huh.
asked Jory, I was like, do you think there's groups of people that like travel around the world to go to Krampus parties so they can get hit with sticks? And Jory was like, ooh, Krampus. I was a bad boy this year. And it was so funny. He had me laughing until I was in tears. He's like, oh, Krampus, is that all you got? And it was so funny. Please go listen to Krampus.
I will. I will.
Jory's impersonation of somebody who follows Krampus parties so they can get hit with a stick is hilarious. He goes, "Woohoo, Krampus!"
Oh dear me.
Oh my god, it was so funny. So that was 2018's podcast, Rob.
Yeah. It seems
And
like
we,
5 minutes. It seems like it went
I know. And so,
crazy.
what are some of the ones we have on the list for coming up?
I've just got the list actually out. Um, Alistair Crowley.
Alistair Crowley is coming up next week. I'm doing the homework right now.
And something we talked about the other day, the Illuminati.
Yes.
And
And movie stars and stuff.
yes, that's going to be really interesting. Really looking forward to that. I've got down on the list haunted places, not necessarily buildings, but like the haunted forest in Japan.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, and I think Joy said there's one in Germany too. A
there
haunted
is a place,
forest.
yeah, and there is I don't know if it's the same place. I was watching a documentary on it um, on one of our TV channels, and they built this fort, like castle type fort, in the middle on top of this mountain, surrounded by trees, and it doesn't have any windows or anything on the outside. And they believe that there's a hole. They built a chapel basically inside. Underneath the chapel, there's this huge hole that goes down into hell.
What?
There's a huge hole that goes down into hell, and the rooms are that they have lowered people down, criminals who were going to be killed. They have lowered people down into it, and they lower them down and down and down until they start screaming. They pull them back up again, and they're mad, and their hair has turned completely white.
What?
So the Germans, the Nazis, they supposedly took over this. I think it's in Poland. I'm not sure. I don't think it's in Germany. The Nazis took over this fortress, this building, and they were doing their weird occult experiments on people in this castle, and it is believed to be really, really, really haunted. I will find out what it's called and where it
That
is.
scares me.
So this fort basically, it hasn't got any fortifications on the outside. They're all on the inside to keep something at bay.
Oh,
You know,
okay. I saw this video the other day of this swirling, and then in a, I think it's a large body of water. So huge lake, maybe like an inlet for from the ocean. I don't know, but it swirls and swirls and swirls and swirls, and then it goes down this big hole. Not the one that's in the Bahamas, but it's somewhere else.
is it the one that I sent you? I put on the group.
Is it that? Is that it, Rob?
Yeah.
Okay, can I
Yes.
tell you? It that literally made my skin hurt, like a jolt of electricity to see that. That scares me so badly. More than any scary movie ever would. All you have to do is show me that video, and I'm like, ugh. And they have one in the Bahamas, I think, too. That no, maybe the Bahamas is just that big hole you can go diving into. I don't know, but that swirling thing. What is that?
It's a sinkhole basically, but it's it's a hole at the bottom of the ocean, and it's just put the pressure is just pulling the water down right to the bottom, and
What
obviously
happens if you fall in there? Like, where does it go?
just it will go down to the bottom, and then you'll probably get ripped apart by the currents and but yeah, it looks really really strange, doesn't it?
Oh, that was so scary. That I have nightmares about stuff like that. My nightmares involve water, apparently. They do. And then there's those falls that are somewhere where they're together. One, the water goes over the waterfall like normal. And one, it goes down into a hole. They have put rubber duckies. They put dye. They put like
Yeah,
microchips and had it go into the water, never to be seen again. The dye
yeah,
never comes out. The microchip can't be found. Where's that going?
yeah. Yeah, I've heard of that one. I have no idea.
That's unnecessary. If I'm ever in charge of nature, these things aren't going to happen. No holes to hell either. They have one in like Nevada or something. Maya, do you know what I'm talking about? Because I think it was you who sent it to me. Oh, do you remember that we listened to it with the girl with the name who starts with E, and it scared her really bad? Maya, are you there? Do we have a producer, or is it just us now? Hello, Maya. Yes. Are you? Can people hear you, Maya? Oh, well, that's way different than Nevada. Siberia. That's a bit of a walk. I thought it looked like a desert. It's very little though. It's not. It's I don't know what it's like in down, but it's like I don't know, like a foot wide, maybe not even that big. And they dropped the microphone down there, and you could hear like screams.
I think it's ringing a bell.
Okay, Maya's gonna look it up. They dropped this microphone down, and forever it just went doing, 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 doing all the way down, forever, never, never. And pretty soon you hear distinct screaming, men and women, and then like also these noises that you'll never get out of your head again. And we watched it with one of Maya's friends once, who scared the living daylights out of her. And that is unnecessary as well.
Have you got a pen on you?
No.
Right, I'll write it down then. It's called, this is the castle that I was talking about, Houska
Okay.
Castle. Houska. It's in Prague.
Well, we'll put it on our haunted places.
Yeah, I'm going to do it now.
Okay, I put it on my computer. Anyway, while they're looking up the hole to hell, I guess what we will do is go ahead and wrap this up and say that what we're going to do is we're going to do a premiere of this podcast where when you are listening to this, we will be in the chat with you. So you can ask Rob and I any questions you'd like. Ask him about Fifi. Or not. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun because we'll be able to take part in this conversation. And I, won't tease Rob because I never do.
We forgot one more thing.
Oh, what did we forget?
Lizzie Borden.
Oh, don't tell. Shh. Oh, that's one that's coming up. Yeah, we're gonna do a podcast about Lizzie Borden.
Why are you shushing me?
Oh, I forgot. I asked you to tell me the list.
Okay.
Seems like, seems like there was a lot more that we were going to do. Also, we did a Sea Monsters podcast.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, where'd that go?
I don't know.
But lately we've been coming up with a lot of ideas to do for podcasts.
Yeah, we were going to do one about the ancient Egyptians and about the pyramids as well.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, so we have a lot of new stuff coming up for this year. I need a little bit of a leeway for the next couple of months. As some of you know, I have a child who travels with a junior Olympic team. And this is the time of year that happens. And so we're traveling almost every weekend, which is going to really help with these premiere podcasts because we can do those any day. And that will help a lot. And but we got a lot of stuff, you guys, lined up for new podcasts. I thought when we first started doing podcasts that I would run out of ideas, that we would run out of ideas, but we're just getting more and more ideas.
Yeah.
So that's very exciting. And this in 2018, my channel grew exponentially compared to 2017. And I started this channel, Rob, March 1st, 2016, almost 3 years ago.
All right.
So, I mean, from just me and my kids being my subscribers, I don't even think Maya's a subscriber of mine. I think, my first view, when I got my first view, I was like, oh my God, I'm famous. So it's grown quite a bit, and I expect it this year that it's going to do the same, and we're going to bring you guys a lot of great content and continue to do that in my stories and these podcasts. And I'm excited for this year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good year.
Yeah, I think so too. And I'd like to start going on some live ghost hunts. I think that would be fun. And maybe Rob, maybe you can go out to the moor late at night by yourself and put up a tent. Maybe not.
I'd be happy to go up on the moor and do a recording. And
Oh, Rob, that would be so awesome.
yeah, I'll do that.
Careful though, it scares me.
I think I'll be all right.
You can take care of yourself.
I can, I've lived this long.
And you're not bad for 50 either.
That's the one, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Maya, are you ever going to tell me what the hole from hell is, or am I just
talking about? Oh, go on, Maya. Sorry.
Maya can't find the one that her and I listen to? Yes, but it is in Siberia, which is probably hell-like itself. Okay, we'll look it up and maybe and put it in our podcast. Oh, yeah, we can play the sounds, Rob.
Well, that's good.
You guys will never forget it, and you'll wish you hadn't heard it, but it'll be too late by then. So, all right. So I guess that's it. If you would like to feel out of the kindness of your heart that you would like to support this channel, please consider doing so through Patreon. The link is going to be in the subscription. Like I said before, if you could just go ahead and give this a thumbs up, I would appreciate it. That is how we get recommended. My channel is not fit to be monetized. However, it does still get recommended. So those thumbs up and comments and sharing really help. And if you'd like to be subscribed, go ahead and do that too. And click that bell so you can be notified when we do our podcasts and my other content. Thank you, Rob.
It's a pleasure as always.
I enjoyed it. And it took over our regular nightly conversation.
Yep, that's what we do all the time.
Yes, we do. And it goes very similar to this. Although sometimes we talk about some weird stuff.
Very. Very, very, very.
You're scaring them. All right. Well, thank you, Jeremy. I hope you feel better. And thank you, Maya, my moderator, Maya. And we will be saying goodnight when you guys hear this in the chat as well. Good night, Rob.
Good night, Tracy.
Bye.
Bye.